Hey everybody, we are here to talk about the November release. This is Fruit Wine Co's 24th release. This is called Warmth in the Wild. And we've selected all these wines to be exceptionally comforting and soulful and easy to access. We're going to start with a wine from Northern Italy. We have two whites from right around Northern Italy, one from Piedmont, one from Slovenia. This wine is Massimo Rivetti, Langhe Arneis, and it's called Aurelia. And the grape here is Arneis. It's a grape that's native to that area of Piedmont. It is very dry and brisk. I love this wine for its floral notes. It's like white flower and acacia and green apple skin. And when you get it on the palate, it's dry. It's very refreshing. It's very elegant. And this is a perfect wine to have with seafood or light pastas or anything that's kind of a cheese-based cream sauce would be excellent with this. So Massimo Rivetti Arneis. Next, we're going to go to Slovenia. And I was really excited to get this wine in the box. This is definitely probably the most expensive wine we're putting in the box. It's a 2015 Simcic Chardonnay. And this comes from Primorska in a region of Slovenia that has ancient seabed soils. And it's very reminiscent of white Burgundy because it's grown like Burgundy is and parts of Burgundy on an ancient seafloor with lots of fossilized marine life. Just look at that color. It's golden and a lot of golden fruit on the nose as well. Peach, golden apple, yellow pear, all this sort of like fall fruit that grows on trees like quince. It's also very mineral in quality. It's got a lot of spice and a little bit of vanilla. Texturally, this wine is super interesting. It's very broad and rich and waxy on the palate, a little bit of honeyed notes. And oh my gosh, if you have a little bit more of a robust fish dish or even a roast chicken or roast pork, this is the type of white wine that's big enough and textural enough to stand up to that. So if this is your first time having a wine from Slovenia, I'm excited for you because it's an excellent one. So this next one, now we're going to get into some reds. We're going to start with Stolpman Crunchy Roastie. And this is a wine that's actually been in a crunchy red fruit release before. This is a Syrah from Santa Barbara and Ballard Canyon, and this is made by Peter Stolpman, who's an excellent winemaker. Again, we put this in the box back in 2020, and now we're putting it in again, a new vintage of it. It is exceptionally peppery and smoky and herbal. It's called Crunchy Roastie, obviously as a play on Côte Rôtie, but with that crunchy fruit, which, as you know, we're a big fan of. Very smoky and peppery. Lots of like brambly, blackberry, and cranberry and cherry fruit here. This actually says to serve chilled on it, and I agree with that. I think it's a great call. But really delicious and a nice light-bodied Syrah. Perfect with turkey, perfect with poultry. It would be a great chicken wine or pork chops. We're going to go up the West Coast to Oregon now. And this was a wine found by Shop Consensus. We had one slot left in the box, and we wanted to do something from Oregon. And we tried maybe 10 or 20 Oregon Pinot Noirs, and we settled on this one, which is David Hill Whole Cluster Pinot Noir. This is made by Chad Stock. He's a winemaker that's been featured in Crunchy Red Fruit boxes before, and he is exceptionally talented. His winery is called Limited Edition, but he's also the winemaker for David Hill, and that's what we're drinking today. This is the Whole Cluster Pinot Noir. My gosh, just beautiful cherry fruit and raspberry and strawberry, and it's lifted and aromatic and does everything you want a Pinot Noir to do. But it's not a big oaky wine. It's a wine meant to drink right now. It'd be good next year too, but I don't think it's going to last that long in your cellar. Perfect wine with roast chicken, roast vegetables, yams, anything that's got some pumpkin or squash in it. This really would go nicely with. It's a very pleasant fall wine to drink. There's so much fruit and so much concentration on the palate. It's got a lot going on. And I think this is one of the more unique Pinot Noirs we've had in a box before. So check out the David Hill Pinot Noir. If you're a 3 or a 6 bottle subscriber, you would have gotten the David Hill Pinot Noir, and the 3 bottle also included the Langhe Arneis And this next wine, which is a wine from France, this is Bordeaux. And contrary to most wines made in Bordeaux, this Domaine les Carmels Cadillac Bordeaux is actually made with just one grape variety, because most Bordeaux's blends. This is 100% Merlot, and it is made in a really approachable, fresh, friendly style. That does not mean it lacks for seriousness. It's a wine that has some real texture and real weight to it. Merlot is kind of unnecessarily maligned. It's a grape that not a lot of people think is very capable of producing great wines, but you just got to taste wines like this to change your opinion, because this is fresh, it's balanced, it's got a great sort of tension between the acidity and the fruit and the weight. This Merlot is red fruited. It's got a lot of plum. It's got a lot of tobacco, herbal things like bay leaf, spices, chocolate. It's got a lot going on. I just opened it up. This is a wine you could decant, let sit for a half hour or so, and really let it get complex and interesting as it breathes. So, Domaine les Carmels, one of my favorite Bordeaux I've tasted all year. We're going to finish things with another one of my favorite fall wines. This is Corte Sant'Alda Fiui Valpolicella Classico. And this is a red wine from a region that makes things like Amarone and Recioto, which are wines made from dried grapes that are huge and high alcohol and exceptionally massive. This is not that. This is made by a producer who makes those wines like Amarone, but they also make Valpolicella Rosso, where they take the Corvina grape and instead of drying it and turning it into this kind of large raisin bomb, almost port-like red wine, they make a fresher, more approachable, dry example of the red. And I've always thought that these wines reminded me of fall. They smell like leaves burning somewhere in the wind. They smell like herbs and thyme and rosemary and things you use to cook with. There's also a strong vermouthy quality. Like if you ever had sweet vermouth and you smell that like toasted spices, and you smell the wormwood itself, and you smell the gentian and the quinine, this wine has a little bit of that bitter, barky quality. But on the palate, it's so good. You get the sense that this is almost like a baby Amarone. Like it has that concentration and intensity, but it is not a wine that's made by drying all the grapes. So this is Corte Sant'Alda Fiui Valpolicella. This would be killer with stews, with risotto. You could make a red wine risotto. It's one of the local dishes I had when I was in this region. It's really good. You can even shave some bitter chocolate over it. It would be a killer pairing. So excited to have you as part of the Crunchy Red Fruit Club. Come visit us if you're ever in Bellevue at Fruit Wine Co. And thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the circle and the Crunchy Red Fruit Club. Cheers, everybody.